All right, so today we're diving deep into weddings.
That's right. And we're going to try to keep it easy to understand for anyone new to English.
So, like, if you're listening and you're thinking about getting married someday, this one's for you.
Definitely, we'll break it all down.
Okay, let's get started. First things first. Who are all these people at a wedding?
Okay, well, you got to start with the groom.
Groom.
That's the man who's getting married.
Okay,
And then, of course, the bride, the woman getting married.
got it. Like the king and queen of the day.
You got it.
Perfect. So we've got a king and queen. Who else is important?
Well, you usually see the bridesmaids.
Ah, bridesmaids. I've heard of those.
They're like the bride's closest friends.
Oh, got
Right.
it. Yeah, like a teen, they help her get ready.
So they're like her support system.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have those super cute kids too.
Oh, yeah. Like the little ones. What are their titles?
The flower girl.
Flower girl, of course.
She walks down the aisle that's a pathway and scatters flower petals.
Oh, cute. Right. And the ring bearer carries the rings.
Oh. And is he usually a little boy?
Yeah, traditionally it's a boy. He has like a special pillow for the rings.
Okay, so groom, bride, bridesmaids, flower girl, ring bearer. Am I missing anyone?
Yeah, two more really important people. The best man and the maid of honor.
Oh, right. They stand up there with the bride and groom.
Exactly, like the leaders of the friend groups.
Okay.
But they also have a really important job.
Which is,
They sign the marriage license.
whoa, serious stuff.
Very serious. It makes it all official.
So, like, without their signatures, it's not a real marriage.
Pretty much, yeah. It's like their word that everything's legit.
Wow. I didn't realize how much responsibility they have.
Right. And here's something interesting. Sometimes that marriage license is signed right there during the ceremony.
Okay, that makes sense.
But in some places, the couple might actually get legally married beforehand.
What? So they're already married before the big wedding?
Exactly.
Huh. I never knew that.
Yeah, and then the church wedding is more like a celebration.
Interesting. So two different ways of doing it.
Right.
I guess it depends on where you live.
Definitely, yeah. Every culture has its own way of doing things.
That's so cool. Okay, you mentioned the aisle earlier where the flower girl walks down.
Yes.
Is that just like a regular pathway or is there something special about it?
Well, it's more than just a pathway, you know?
What do you mean?
Like, it's symbolic.
Symbolic.
Yeah, like the bride is leaving her old life behind and starting this new one.
Wow. Deep.
Right. And everyone's watching her, so it's a big moment.
I bet. It's got to be a little nerve-wracking.
Oh, definitely.
Our source material actually had this funny saying about when something finally happens after a long wait.
What is it?
And they use a wedding example too.
Oh, you mean it's about time?
Yes. They talked about this guy who lived with his parents for 40 years
Oh, wow.
and then he finally got married.
That's a long time.
I know, right? Can you imagine everyone is saying it's about time?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like a funny way of saying finally.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
also like you're happy for them.
Definitely, yeah. Like it's been a long time coming, but you're glad it finally happened.
It's about time. I'm gonna have to remember that one.
It's a good one.
Okay, so we talked about how the big church wedding isn't always the legal marriage.
Right.
So what does that mean for the couple? Like, is one more important than the other?
It really depends on the culture, you know?
What do you mean?
Like in some cultures, the religious ceremony is super important.
Okay.
It's about their promise to God, you know? But in other places, the legal part is more important.
I see. So it's more about making it official.
Yeah. And the religious ceremony is more for the celebration.
Got it. So different ways of making it official and then different ways of celebrating.
Exactly.
Wow. I had no idea.
It's fascinating, right? All the different ways people get married.
So what happens next? After the adieus, do they just go home?
Oh, no. The party's just getting started.
Really?
Yeah, it's time for the reception.
Oh, the reception. I can't wait to hear all about that.
That's where the fun really begins. Music, dancing, food.
Okay, tell me more.
Let's dive into the reception.
So the adieus are done, rings are on fingers. What happens next?
Well, then it's time for the reception.
Okay, the reception. So like, what exactly is a reception?
Basically, it's the big party after the ceremony.
Gotcha. So like music and dancing and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Food, drinks, all that good stuff. It's a chance for everyone to like celebrate the new couple.
Okay, I see. So like, do people give gifts at the reception or is that earlier?
That's a good question. It really depends on the culture. Sometimes gifts are given before the wedding,
Oh, okay.
but a lot of times people bring gifts to the reception. Yeah.
Got it. And are the gifts like anything goes?
Yeah.
Or is there like a system?
Well, some couples have a wedding registry.
Wedding registry. What's that?
It's basically a list of things the couple wants.
Oh, so like you can go to a store and pick something off their list.
Yeah, exactly. That way you know you're getting them something they actually need and want. But some people just give money too.
Right. That makes sense. Like help them start their new life together.
Exactly.
So, okay, we've got food, gifts. What about dancing?
Oh, yeah. There's always dancing at a reception.
What about that, the first dance? I've heard of that. Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah, the first dance is a big deal. That's when the couple dances together for the first time as, like, husband and wife.
Oh, that's sweet. What kind of music do they usually play?
It really depends on the couple, you know? Sometimes it's a slow song, sometimes it's something more upbeat.
I bet some people even choreograph a whole routine.
Oh, yeah. Some people go all out.
That's impressive.
But sometimes it's just about, like, holding each other close and enjoying the moment.
I can see why that would be special.
For sure.
So we've got food, gifts, dancing. What else happens at the reception? Are there any like traditions?
Yeah, a lot of times there were speeches.
Oh yeah, like toasts and stuff.
Exactly.
Who usually gives the speeches?
Usually it's close friends or family members. They share stories about the couple, offer advice, wish them well for the future, you know.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it can get pretty emotional.
I bet. And then of course there's the cake.
Oh, yeah, gotta have cake.
Is there like a special meaning behind the wedding cake?
You know there is.
Tell me.
When the couple cuts the cake together, it symbolizes their first act of unity as husband and wife.
Wow, I never knew that. I thought it was just about dessert.
Haha. Well, that too, of course.
So wait, before we move on, can we go back to those vows for a second?
Sure.
I know they happen during the ceremony, but like, what exactly are they?
Okay, so vows are basically the promises the couple makes to each other.
Right.
You know, like the heart of the ceremony, you know?
Yeah.
They can be traditional, like to love and cherish.
Right.
Or they can be more personal, something the couple writes themselves.
Oh, that's really sweet.
It's a really special moment. It's like their declaration of love and commitment.
Okay, now I'm really starting to get it.
Good. Remember earlier when we talked about how different cultures have different ways of, like, doing marriage?
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with wedding traditions.
Oh, really? Like what kind of traditions?
Well, for example, in some cultures, there's a tradition of literally tying the knot.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
They might tie the couple's hands together with a ribbon or something.
That's so cool. What does it mean?
It symbolizes the couple's bond, you know? Like, they're tied together now.
I love that.
It's a nice visual.
Definitely. Okay. Think back to those bridesmaids we were talking about.
Okay.
What happens to them at the end of the reception? Do they just go home? So those bridesmaids, what happens to them at the end? Any spiral traditions?
Well, there's often this thing called the bouquet toss.
The bouquet toss. I've heard of that.
Yeah, the bride throws her bouquet to all the single women.
And what, they try to catch it?
Exactly. And the one who catches it is, like, supposedly the next to get married.
Oh, fun. I like that one. So, okay, we've talked about the ceremony, the reception, all the key people, but I'm sure there are still some wedding words that would go right over my head.
Yeah, probably. There are definitely some, like, fancy wedding terms.
Yeah, like words that make you feel like you need a dictionary.
Ha ha ha. Aha. Right.
But don't worry, we're going to break them down for you.
Okay, good. I'm ready to learn.
All right, so first up, how about nuptials?
Nuptials. That sounds intense.
I know, right? It's kind of a fancy way to say wedding ceremony.
No, really. So, like, instead of saying they had a beautiful wedding, you could say they had beautiful nuptials.
Exactly.
Got it. Nuptials equals wedding ceremony.
Perfect.
Okay, what else? What other tricky words are out there?
We talked about vows earlier, but those are worth diving into a little deeper.
Okay, vows. What about that?
They're more than just words, you know?
What do you mean?
Like they're the promises the couple is making to each other.
Yeah.
They're like the foundation of the marriage.
That's a good way to put it. It's a big deal. And, you know, sometimes couples write their own vows.
Really?
That's cool.
Yeah, it makes it even more personal.
I like that. Okay, here's a word I've definitely heard before. Wedding crasher.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not actually sure what it means.
So a wedding crasher is someone who shows up to a wedding uninvited.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes it's meant to be funny, like a prank.
Right.
But, you know, can also be seen as kind of rude.
Yeah, I bet the bride and groom wouldn't be too happy about that.
Probably not. Okay, let's move on to a happier word. Honeymoon?
Honeymoon. Everyone loves a honeymoon.
I know, right? So the honeymoon is basically a trip the couple takes after the wedding.
Okay, so like a vacation.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
chance to relax, celebrate, and just like enjoy some alone time together.
Ah, that's nice. Little escape after all the wedding craziness.
Exactly.
Now, what if a couple decides to skip the whole big wedding thing?
Mhm.
Is there a word for that? Like when they just run off and get married?
You mean elope?
Elope, yes, that's the word. So, to elope means to get married secretly
Got it.
without telling family or friends beforehand.
Why would people do that?
Sometimes they just want a small, intimate ceremony, or maybe they're looking for more of an adventure, you know?
I see. Like a romantic escape.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, last word, and then I think I'll officially be a wedding vocabulary expert.
Hit me with it.
Tie the knot. I've heard people say that, but what does it actually mean?
Tie the knot just means to get married.
Oh, so like a casual way of saying it?
Yep. It's an idiom. Instead of saying they got married, you can say they tied the knot.
I love it. Okay, I feel like I can understand any wedding conversation now.
That's awesome.
I'm ready for the next wedding invite.
Me too.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of weddings. We've gone over all the important people and even learned some fancy new words.
Hopefully it's all a little clearer now.
Yeah, I think so.
No matter where you're from or how you choose to celebrate, weddings are all about love, and that's something we can all appreciate.
So true. Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time.